okay. I had heard enough about that they were originally it was going to be a series. Actually kind of like the Romanovs, I guess, where it was just an anthology of stories.
Oh.
Old West stories, which they've done well in the past. I thought I enjoyed No Country for Old Men, and
that's Coen Brothers?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Book much better, I think, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
So I don't really love Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah, you know what? That might actually be the only Cormac McCarthy novel I've read.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think he's lazy. Sorry. But then again...
He seems kind of like a Western Bukowski to me.
Okay. I don't get that, but okay. I like, the rough around the edges, and this is going to come out wrong. I like the violence.
Sure.
But that's the fiction thing, okay? Mm-hmm. But I don't like the way he writes.
Okay.
I think the way he writes is lazy. And it's funny to me that I'll see a movie like, I love the film version of No Country for Old Men.
Oh, really?
I love the film version of, oh no, I don't want to say that one because that guy's local. Never mind.
Are you talking Drive?
Yeah. I don't love the book. Sorry.
I met him for the first time when I was in the Piper Center the other day.
I interviewed him once for Java. He's a perfectly lovely gentleman. We were going to get coffee again. It never happened. Mm-hmm. But I read Drive and was like, there's nothing to this book.
Really? I've never read
Hollywood
it. I loved
producer.
the film.
That's amazing. This is the incredible creativity and genius of some Hollywood directors or producers, is that they could see something.
Sure.
In something like that. Same thing, and I hope you don't hate me because a lot of people love this book. Everything is illuminated.
I didn't see the film or read the book.
I hate the book. I think it's bad. Mm-hmm. The movie is brilliant.
Really?
Somebody wrote a beautiful screenplay out of that bad book. And I saw, what's the author's name? I saw him.
Jonathan Safran Foer.
Yeah. He gave a reading once in New York City.
A Jew.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because of the book, I mean, that's like the base of the book. It's going back to your roots and trying to figure out things that are missing from your family history, basically, which is a great premise. I just don't like the book. I thought all the characters were flat. And when I saw him give this reading, this was like 12 or 13 years ago.
That's why I didn't watch it. Sorry. Continue, please.
When I saw him do this reading, somebody in the audience stood up and asked a question at the end. And her question, to me, made sense because I was in an MFA writing program at the time. Mm-hmm. And she asked Jonathan Safran Foer, so when you develop these characters, do you hear their different voices in your head? And he just went, no, I never hear any voices. The voice in my head is always my own. I thought that was so arrogant. Mm. And also, if you read the book, it comes across because to me, it was like, oh, it's a Russian guy, so we'll have him talk gibberish. Like really broken English that's embarrassing and pathetic. But then when they made the movie, they used that guy that's from that band. Oh, the gypsy band that was cool 12 years ago.
The guy from
it's on the edge
Go-Go Bordello?
Yes! He's the actor in Everything is Illuminated.
Really?
The Russian guide. And he nails it as a character. But again, I'm like, how did somebody write a beautiful screenplay out of this crappy book?
Well,
and
I
how
had
did
no
these
idea.
actors deliver such a good...
It's Elijah Wood, which is why I wouldn't have watched it, because I don't like Elijah Wood.
Really? That's like one of my childhood crushes. You like Jennifer Jason Leigh. That's like when he was a little boy and I was a kid, I was like, oh, I'm going to marry Elijah Wood.
I think he's shorter than you.
That's fine. We would have worked it out.
It was written and directed by Liev Schreiber.
Oh.
Which
okay.
I didn't know. I had no idea. I actually really like him a lot. I think he's quite good.
I
really liked him in he was the editor in Spotlight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he is great
also,
as Ray Donovan.
A great movie. Spotlight's great.
Spotlight is great. Yeah. That's what I think Michael Keaton should have gotten something for.
Yes!
I love Birdman,
He's so good in
But,
Spotlight.
Yeah.
Crusty newspaper reporter.
Yeah. Michael Keaton in general is great. I still think that he's probably one of my favorite and most underappreciated actors.
Yes.
Which is why it's nice that he gets to do something like a Birdman or Spotlight still. So
he's still great. He's got really good, consistent, great performances.
Yeah. But Liev Schreiber, yeah.
So I don't know. Is that where it comes? So I'm just going to start sending scripts to Hollywood because why not? I've got some mediocre shit that I wrote. Maybe
is that going to be from Jenna
brilliant.
Duncan,
Yeah.
something, Phoenix, Arizona, to
pay me $100,000.
Yeah.
You guys make a brilliant movie. My job here is done.
We've still got one person still addressing their scripts to Hollywood.
Dear Hollywood, I'm coming for you. Aw.
Suddenly, yeah, I feel like you're in Barton Fink still.
Yes.
Also a Coen Brothers film.
Also a good one to rewatch. I should add that to my list.
Yeah. So Buster Scruggs, I thought, could have used... I actually maybe would have enjoyed it more as a show, especially if they had gotten time to flesh out the stories a little bit, because the biggest feeling I had, even though I thought there were some pretty good performances and some interesting ideas, overall, I was like, these just don't feel fleshed out enough. There's more to it. I feel like I haven't had enough time to really get involved. I think that the first one, which has Tim Blake Nelson, is really a lot of fun, and sets a tone that just doesn't quite get carried through the rest of it. And then it's the first time I've liked James Franco for a while.
Okay.
Because he doesn't really play
he
James
gets
Franco.
Annoying sometimes. Yeah. You get grates on your nerves.
He can. Although I do want to see his the whole reason that I actually went and saw The Room was so I could see what he did with
Tommy.
Yeah. And when I went and saw The Room, they played a clip of him
doing Tommy?
Well, actually talking to Tommy Wiseau.
Oh, there's that whole at the end of Disaster Artist. Mm-hmm. There's a few little exchanges between the two of them.
Well, and maybe this was sort of from that, but it was interesting to watch the two of them together.
Yeah.
So I will still watch that at some point. But he doesn't talk a whole lot and just kind of, I don't know,
creeps around with his wonky eye. So did I bring this up before? Party Down? Did you ever get into that show?
You know what? I haven't watched that yet.
I love it.
Which I still need to see because I've become a huge fan of Adam Scott.
He's so good and he's so cute. I could never get sick of looking at that man. But there's an episode. Tell me if you get to it and tell me what you think. This just came up with another friend. We were talking about something. It was a conversation a lot like this. It kept going in circles where things would touch back. We got on Party Down. And I had this thought, there's an episode where they are catering a party at this sort of seedy bar. And a lot of the people at the party are vaguely foreign. Like they might be Russian or they might be something else. Mm-hmm. Who knows by the weird accent. There's a guy with a wonky eye. Oh, by the way, all the people at the party are just starstruck by celebrity. Any level of celebrity, including C-list, which a lot of the staff of Party Down, they're caterers, but they also are trying to be actors and they've only been in like shitty bit parts here. Anyway, these Russian or whatever they are people at the party recognize the actors and they're really playing up their egos and they're so excited to be around, quote unquote celebrities. The main guy whose party it is has a wonky eye, kind of like Tommy Wiseau?
Wiseau something.
And he like pulls some of the actors into the kitchen and tries to hand them a script. So I was later thinking, like, is that a connection? Is that episode a parody of The Room and the way the whole room went down?
Huh.
Is Party Down making fun of The Room? And the more I think about
Denny.
it, we could. We know the real Denny.
We do know the real Denny. Yeah.
And he's like a pop culture guy, so I bet he would know. I'm gonna ask him.
Yeah, that's maybe he. I bet he would be willing
All
to be a
these
guest on this.
themes for shows come up from something in real life, right?
Yeah. Huh.
It would be fun to go through a whole series and try to uncode or decode what was the inspiration for this episode? What really happened? Anyway. I know that went off on a tangent.
No, it was that's something
but
that
I think about writers and writing a lot. Like I watch Rick and Morty, that's one of my favorite shows, and I'm constantly like, where the fuck did they get the idea for this thing, this like gimmick, this device, this whole...
I think they pulled it from Star Trek.
Okay. And Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. It's especially since...
Whoa, that's a cool echo.
It's a lot of fun. Especially since... did we talk about...
Have you been watching Rick and Morty? I asked you like when we started this podcast.
I watched the first 2 seasons.
Okay. I'm like holding my breath for season 4.
So I guess I need to watch season 3, which... Okay. But anyway, the guy, the creator...
Dan Harmon or Justin Roiland. I think they're co-creators.
Not Dan Harmon.
Justin
of Rick and
Roiland.
Morty.
Okay.
Is going to do a Star Trek animated series.
Oh, right. You mentioned this.
They're going to do... He's going to do... Which I think is cool. He's going to do... well, I'll get to that in a sec. He's going to do a whole series about... like the C-list people of Starfleet.
Yeah,
like
you mentioned
below
this
decks
before.
people. Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
I think it's going to be great. And there are so many people who are like, well, if it's going to be like Rick and Morty, it's going to be terrible. I'm never going to watch it. And I hate... I speak as somebody who loves Star Trek, loves Star Wars. I hate hearing Star Trek and Star Wars fans talk about how much they're going to hate the new thing and how terrible it's going to be, and it's never...
Give it a chance, naysayers.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to it. It's been commissioned. It's an animated show. It's the first Star Trek animated series since the original way back when. That was weird. And yeah, it should be interesting.
Yeah.
So Buster Scruggs has a really great performance from Tom Waits.
Oh yeah.
One of the focal points is Tom Waits, and he's so good in it. He's been acting as a side thing for years, but between we talked about it on this show.
He was in Jim Jarmusch, wasn't he, in the Coffee and Cigarettes?
He's been in a lot of Jim Jarmusch stuff. He was in Coffee and Cigarettes with Iggy Pop, but he was also in Down by Law.
Yeah, that's right.
And then he did the soundtrack for Night on Earth, which was the taxi one.
Okay.
And so yeah, there's a deep connection with Jim Jarmusch, but he's been, acting. He was in Seven Psychopaths.
Oh, that's right.
He was the.
You remind me.
And then he played the weapons designer in Mystery Men.
Did he? I don't remember that.
Yeah. It's great. And then
who's had more cameos, Tom Waits or Werner Herzog? Just kidding.
I don't know, but
I bet they're pretty equal.
He's done some kind of cool parts over the years. He was in Ironweed as a relatively major part with Jack Nicholson and Meryl Streep, and it was The Old Man and the Gun.
Oh,
that's
okay.
right, the Robert Redford film earlier this year, and he was really great in that. He was one of the highlights, like his performance, to kind of like hold your own with a Robert Redford is anyway. Yeah, it was really good. And this one, he was, better than, I don't know. I thought that his story was one of the more compelling ones, and he was so good and so surprising in it.
Wow.
That I would have watched it just for that.
Cool.
Yeah. But I'll probably have to rewatch it. I think that Coen Brothers films, typically anyway, are ones that